The Boy and His Shadow. Once there was a boy who carried a secret shame. It wasn't visible to anyone else but lived beneath him, his shadow. To him, that inky shape cast upon the ground was more than just a simple silhouette. It felt like a reflection of all the qualities he despised in himself. He believed it made him look small, weak, and ordinary, just a reminder of the imperfections he couldn't escape. When he ran, it chased him. When he stood still, it lingered. Silently, it became a burden he couldn't shake, a weight he didn't know how to carry. Many days he would try to ignore it, but it always followed him. The boy would tell himself that without his shadow, his life would somehow feel cleaner, brighter, simpler, as if his flaws would vanish. One day, the boy wandered toward a forest. It wasn't a place he had planned to visit, but life often pulls us to places we least expect. As the trees grew thicker, sunlight dimmed, and shadows deepened. Even his own shadow started to grow fainter until, at last, the boy noticed it had disappeared altogether. At first he didn't mind. He felt lighter without it, unnoticed, almost invisible, but then cracks of fear began to creep in. Without his shadow, something about him seemed incomplete, like a part of himself was missing. As daylight faded entirely, the boy felt his heart race against the silence of the woods. In his loneliness, he longed for the simple comfort of his shadow's presence, no matter how much he had resented it before. And in that moment, he realized something powerful. His shadow had never abandoned him, no matter how much he wished it away or ignored it before now. It had always been there, a quiet, unwavering companion. The boy's story invites us to reflect on our own lives. How often do we, as parents or individuals, criticize parts of ourselves that seem like flaws? Perhaps it's the imperfection of losing patience on a hard day, or the vulnerability of feeling overwhelmed. But the truth is, the parts of yourself that you criticize may be your greatest teachers. Think of how you've grown from moments of struggle. Every perceived flaw, every stumbling block, is a mark of where you've learned something new. It's within our imperfections that we often find our greatest capacity for growth, resilience, and compassion, not just for ourselves, but for those who look to us, like our children, to set an example. As parents, it's easy to feel like we need to be flawless role models. We hide our insecurities because we worry they might cast shadows on the people we love most. But what if showing those shadows, those human, imperfect parts of ourselves, is what connects us to them? The moral of the story is not just about the boy and his shadow. It's about all of us. Whether it's the insecurities we feel in our parenting, or the flaws we see when we look in the mirror, those moments of doubt are part of being human. They're not a weakness, but a reflection of our depth and complexity. So the next time you feel ashamed of a part of yourself, your struggles, your fears, or even your mistakes, pause and remind yourself, these are not your enemy. Like the boy's shadow, they are a loyal companion, sticking with you even during the darkest moments. They are what shape you into the resilient, caring person your children look up to. Parenting isn't about perfection, it's about presence. And being present often means making peace with our shadows. By welcoming them, we also give our children the gift of understanding that it's okay to be human, flawed, growing, and whole. In the end, the boy didn't need to discard his shadow. He needed to recognize its value. So too, we must stop running from our perceived flaws and learn to embrace them instead. Self-acceptance isn't just for us. It ripples outward, shaping those around us. Our shadows don't diminish us. They remind us we're real if we can love ourselves, shadows and all. We teach our children the most valuable truth. They too are worthy exactly as they are. And just like the boy walking out of the forest with his faithful shadow restored, we can walk forward knowing we are never truly broken, just beautifully whole.